Hi there and welcome to our video series called Why We Do What We Do. Folks ask me all the time, well, why do we do this or why don't we do that? They ask leaders in the church. And so we've put a little series together where you can email in and ask us questions about why we do what we do. It's about culture really, about strategy and structure, why we do what we do here in Frontline Church. I thought I'd talk a little bit in this video about Scattered Sundays. Scattered Sundays are a fairly new innovation and structure for us as a church. We've been running with them a little while. Basically, in a nutshell, Scattered Sunday is on the second Sunday of the month. Rather than asking everyone to come here into the big building, the temple, for collective worship, for Bible teaching, rather than doing that, we scatter and meet as missional communities right across the city region. We meet for mission, reaching people with the good news of Jesus, and we meet to be community. We meet as extended family, inclusive family that reaches out to and draws in the outsider, missional community. And if you want a little bit more of information around that Temple, Sunday and scattered missional community dynamic, we have a little video that you can watch on that too. So let me just share with you very briefly a number of reasons. There are lots of reasons why we are doing Scattered Sundays, but let me share with you three of the most important reasons why we made this decision. The first reason is this, that we want to be a church that keeps the mission at the front and centre of all that we do. When I chat to church leaders around the city, around the country, they all say the same thing. Mobilising every member into mission is the biggest challenge of the church, or at least it ought to be the biggest challenge of the church. How do you do that? And churches tick away for weeks, months, years, decades, having never really got to grips with how to mobilise every member in taking the good news of Jesus to every man, woman and child in the place that God has called them to serve. How do we do that? And Scattered Sunday is about mobilising the church for mission. It's about being the church out there in our neighbourhoods, in our communities, and just sharing something of the good news of Jesus. And so you hear stories of communities doing prayer walks, doing brunches or meals together, having drinks of an evening, doing walks around the park with the kids over Christmas. There were loads of carol singing going on and giving out of mince pies, 4 points, promotion type of activities, just sharing the good news of Jesus and doing it as a family together. So that's the first reason we're doing Scattered Sundays. It's to establish a healthier rhythm of mission in the life of the church. The second reason is really to do with the modern world. It's to do with the demands that many people feel on their time, life, the busyness of life, work, family life. How do we make space and capacity for mission and community in day-to-day life? And so we don't want to be a church that's just always saying, we want more from you, do more, try harder, work harder. Instead, we wanted to use Scattered Sunday as a way of releasing time to people. I suppose much like a family would do when a family thinks, well, how do we make time to do the things that are important to us as a family? How do we make time for mission as a church? And so by releasing you from one Sunday a month to be community together, we're hoping that we'll really see that time redeemed for mission and for community. The third reason, I think it's quite important to say this, is around the process that we came to do Scattered Sundays. We've been praying for the best part of a year together as a leadership team, fasting together, listening to the Holy Spirit, talking to other leaders in Frontline and across the nation about mission, about community, about discipleship. And here's the thing, when you get a little sense that the Holy Spirit is calling you to do something, maybe a little bit risky, maybe a little bit out there, out the box, different, change, that sort of thing. When you get that, there's really only one of two things you can do. The first is play it safe and stick to the status quo and the same old, same old. The second is to say, okay, let's have a go, let's take a risk and let's see what happens. And I feel that is our DNA, our heart as a church. We're called to take risks and we're called to innovate. So Scattered Sunday, it's around mission, it's around community, it's around freeing time up amongst ourselves so that we can really put those things at the front and centre of what we're doing as a church. It's about following the Holy Spirit and taking a risk. Let me just say one other thing about being the church. It is not true to say that we are not having church on that second Sunday, for two reasons. First of all, there is a simpler service at both Wavertree and at Central. It's great for guests, it's great for visitors, for new people, for those who are not connected into community yet, for those whose communities are strongly evangelistic through the week. We're really glad to have that simple service on to serve people who are not doing Scattered Sundays. It's been brilliant so far. But the bigger reason is that we are the church whether we are gathered or scattered. We are the church whether we're here in the temple for worship, for the word, or whether we are the church out in our communities across the city region for mission, for family, for fellowship, for community. So that's why we do what we do with Scattered Sundays. And if you do have questions why we do what we do or why we don't do certain things, please do email us and we'll try and produce a little video feedback to keep you updated.